Hey guys, welcome back to the 31 Days of Halloween. Today is day 22. Moving right along. For today's video, or review I should say, I watched Leprechaun Returns. Now, this has kind of been... I'm a huge fan, actually, of the Leprechaun movies. The only one I haven't seen so far is Leprechaun Origins, which I've heard is terrible anyway. So, I'm not really sweating it. But this one I kind of wanted to see for a while, and it's just one of those movies I forgot until now. And then I looked and I saw that I'd had it, and I was like, time to watch it. And, the movie is pretty simple. What they've done with this one is they've excluded all the sequels, and it's a direct sequel to the first film with Jennifer Aniston and Warwick Davis. And this one picks up with Jennifer Aniston's daughter going back to the house for kind of like it's a college sorority, and they're trying to fix up the house to make it have a more green footprint, trying to give it solar panels and all that kind of stuff. And the original character, I think the actor's name is Mark Holton, he played Ozzy in the original film. He comes back, and he's the one who, I think he was the one who swallowed the gold coin in the original. It's been a long time since I've seen that one. But, so he's back, and he kind of tells her, he doesn't tell her about the full story. And then, it just kind of unfolds from there. She gets to the house, and the leprechaun is brought back out of the well. He gets back out of the well, and Ozzy kind of guides her and helps her kind of figure out how to get rid of the leprechaun. I mean, it's pretty much a remake of the original movie, just a little bit different. This was directed by Steven Kostanski, who did The Void, BioCop, Father's Day. He's a pretty good director. And this movie is, I would say, pretty good as well. The gore is very good. The kills are amazing. Like, I don't want to spoil too many of them, but there's one that's kind of like straight out of Final Destination, where there's kind of this, one of the light panels, or not light panel, the solar panels, falls down off the top of the house and splits the guy in two, and his body just goes and just falls right off. It's crazy. All the kills are like that. They're all insane. They're all super bloody. They're all super gory. It's really crazy. The only kind of, I guess I'd say down point of this movie is that Warwick Davis isn't there. The guy that plays him is fine. It's like watching somebody else play Pinhead, not Doug Bradley. It's like watching somebody else play Freddy Krueger. That's not Robert Englund. It feels like that, and the character just seems weird, and they do some weird voiceover ADR sometimes with him. Like, sometimes it's him speaking, and sometimes you can tell it's him doing kind of a voiceover. I don't know if it's because maybe his voice was a little muffled, but sometimes it comes off a little strange, a little weird. All the other actors did a decent job. I don't think any of them are, somebody who you'd notice just from watching the movie, other than Mark Holton, who I always see as Francis from Pee Wee Herman. Every movie I see him in, every time I see him, I just think Francis. I can't help it every time I see him. He's good in this movie. There's some weird logic stuff with the kills, but, if it's always a kill, it's always fine, because you're like, if it makes for, like, a crazy over-the-top, like, every single kill in this movie, there's a oh shit moment, whether it happens when the kill actually happens, or later on, kind of when the body is seen, either way, there's something crazy going on in each scene. There's kind of some new dynamics with how they take out the leprechaun that are kind of interesting, and they kind of never did it in any of the previous films. I still think that my favorite leprechaun is probably part 3, I think, is the one where they go to Vegas. I still love that one. I don't know why. Yeah, probably the worst is probably when Leprechaun 4, I think, is when they went into space. That's still probably the worst one. I've seen all the Leprechaun movies, you know, from 1 all the way up until, you know, Back to the Hood. Like I said, the only one I haven't seen is Origins, and you know, I haven't heard a single good thing about that movie. But this one, I think, is a good way to get back on track. They've left it wide open for a sequel. I don't know what they'll do with the sequel, but I think they're definitely probably going to go down that route. I mean, Leprechaun is one of, I don't want to say the premier horror franchises, but it's definitely one of the big ones. Oddly enough, it's one of the ones that, you know, you think about that comes up in conversation. You know what I mean? When you think about big horror movie franchises, Leprechaun's got to be there. It's been around since '93, and they're still making movies for it. So, you know, I think it's gonna be one of those long-lasting franchises that will be around for many more years to come. Like I said, I mean, there's not really that many down points to this movie. It's just dumb fun. It's Leprechaun. Like, if you've seen the first film and you like the first film, you'll like this one because the gore and the kills are just ramped up to 100, you know? So, I mean, for me, it's probably a 3.5 because it was entertaining. There's some comedy in it. You know, the kind of rhymes that the Leprechaun does aren't as good. And I almost feel like they knew people thought that the main actor that plays Leprechaun in this movie would be a little subpar. So they kind of supplemented that with kind of the main character, Jennifer Aniston's daughter, has a lot of kind of one-liners and some kind of funny things going on. The whole none of the movie is really played straight. I mean, there are some moments, but like the whole thing where they're getting together to revamp this house is funny in itself. Like, they're kind of always making fun of themselves. Like, there's a woman who lives there, or there's a girl who they bring along because she knows plant life, and there's always making jokes about her making alcohol out of the plants and smoking weed and smoking different plants. And so the whole thing is kind of funny. They're kind of in a lot of ways making fun of the kind of the green movement in some ways in it. You know, it's not, you know, directly making fun, but they're kind of, you know, making jokes at, you know, female college students who are trying to save the world. It's pretty funny. So yeah, definitely like 3.5 for me. So that was Leprechaun Returns for day 22. Again, I don't know what I'm going to watch. I am definitely doing that interview. I mentioned that in my last video. And I'm definitely kind of going to do, there's a retrospective coming up that if you followed my writing in the past, you'll definitely want to watch that retrospective. I've got a lot of people contributing to it. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. So thank you guys for watching. Stick around for tomorrow's review. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.